Hello and welcome to Todd Rolls Dice, where we're going to take a look at the Death Guard previews. There's two more to look at this week that have been released on WarCom. We have one from a tournament player and then the usual detachments. We'll run through the detachments first, then we'll get to the tournament side and how to play the Death Guard and anything that we can glean from those. The World Eaters one was quite interesting actually. That one should also be up now if you're interested in the World Eaters side of things. That video should drop with this video. Fingers crossed, everything's going to work fine. But how about we just jump into this one and see what we can find out. Death Guard detachments. Bombard the lackeys of the Corpse Emperor with plagues and poxwalkers. With rheumy eyes and bile-slick grins, corpulent warriors of the Death Guard trudge into the fray under the buzz of flies and tolling of rusted bells. Notorious for their inflexible approach, the Sons of Mortarion actually express a fair bit of tactical nuance. There are 6 detachments in the new codex Death Guard, so strap into the hazmat suit and take a closer look. I'm going to get rid of that out because I don't think that should be there. That's the new mod. We've seen that picture before, haven't we? Or have I just seen this article before? But that's the new guy, that's the Lord of Poxes. So the army rule, Nurgle's Gift, has been upgraded to allow for effects previously exclusive to the Plague Company detachment. The Skull Squirm Blight causes foes to subtract 1 from their hit rolls, nice. Rattle Joint Ague worsens their save characteristic, just gross. And the Scabrous Soul Rot provides a triple medley of worsened move, leadership and objective control. All of those things are quite handy. So Nurgle's Gift is an aura. If your army faction is Death Guard, while an enemy unit is within contagion range of 1 or more Death Guard models from your army, it is affected. See below. Contagion range changes over the course of the battle. The first battle round it is 3 inches, second battle round it's 6 inches, third battle round and onwards it's a 9-inch contagion range. That's gross. Purposefully, I guess. So this afflicted debuff, during the declare battle formation step, select one of the plagues below. Until the end of the battle, while an enemy unit is afflicted, subtract 1 from the toughness characteristic for models in that unit, and that unit has the effect of your chosen plague. Okay, so it will always be -1 toughness, and then one of these 3. The Skull Squirm Blight, each time a model in this unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll, generally just nice. Rattle Joint Ague, worsen the save characteristic for models in this unit by 1. It's quite good. And because you can pick this effectively before the battle starts, you can tailor it to whatever you're fighting against. So if you're going up against Custodes, you'll maybe take Rattle Joint. You know, you can play into that, which is quite cool. It adds that extra element of tactics to it. But finally, the Scabrous Soul Rot, worsen the move characteristic and objective control characteristics of models in this unit by 1. This rule can only worsen a model's objective control characteristic to a minimum of 1. Arguably, you're not getting a huge amount of use out of the OC, but leadership and move can be quite nice. Pact of Decay. When mustering your army, unless specifically stated otherwise, you cannot select Plague Legions as your army faction. This frees detachments up to offer new tools without losing access to those important debuffs. I suppose that's how they're getting around the win rates, is it? For instance, the slow advance of the Death Guard can make it tricky to trap agile enemies, but Mortarion's Hammer will unleash miasmic bombardment to afflict distant foes, regardless of how safe they think they are. So detachment rule miasmic bombardment. At the start of the battle round, select a number of enemy units more than 12 inches away from every model from your army that is on the battlefield. Until the end of the battle round, those enemy units are afflicted. The maximum number of units you can select in this way depends on the battle size as shown below. 1000 point incursion is 1 unit, 2000 strike force is 2, and 3000 plus onslaught is 3 units. So I suppose that's a way of just keeping certain units, enemy units, out of the way maybe. The Eye of Affliction enhances this longer ranged approach and ensures afflicted units find no safe haven across a busy battlefield, while the Font of Filth provides a vehicle of your choice with the assault keyword to reposition and unleash succulent fusillades into enemies with weakened constitution. So the enhancement Eye of Affliction, Death Guard model only, ranged weapons equipped by models in the bearer's unit have the Ignores Cover ability while targeting an afflicted enemy unit. Can see how that plays in, that's quite nice. And Font of Filth is a 1 CP strategic ploy stratagem. When your shooting phase, target one Death Guard vehicle unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. Effect: until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in your unit have the Assault ability. That's generally quite nice. This detachment is a surefire winner for tank fans, with 5 of 6 stratagems specifically targeting your armoured vehicles. But if you lean the other way and want to bury your enemies with a rolling carpet of rotting flesh, the Shamble Rot Vectorium gives you a lot of bang for your buck. The humble Poxwalker may not be much of a threat on their own, but swarms of them can drag down the greatest of champions. Then they're even better when they're practically free to deploy. The Numberless Horde detachment rule replenishes your ranks consistently throughout the game. Gross. Bringing fresh squads groaning onto the battlefield, you can casually tosh into the thankless meat grinder without worrying about the cost-benefit analysis, or other boring business terms. Very, very themey. I love it, but I also hate it. So, detachment rule Numberless Horde. In your command phase, in each of the following battle rounds, depending on your chosen battle size, add a new Poxwalker unit with a starting strength of 10 to your army in strategic reserves. So Incursion 1000 points, battle rounds 2 and 3, 2, 3 and 4 for a 2000 point Strike Force game, and 2, 3, 4 and 5 for anything over 3000 points or Onslaught. So you get 20 free Poxwalkers at 1000 points, 30 free at 2000, and 40 free at Onslaught to 3000 points. All of the enhancements support the heroes lumped with Poxwalker duty. Is that a thing? Can we make that a thing now? Letting them sacrifice their thralls for extra damage. Zip behind enemy lines with a rotting tide in tow, or, in the case of Witherbone Pipe, turn their bodyguard into some genuinely capable and disciplined troops. The stratagems are equally Poxwalker themed, and our personal favourite puts decomposing bodies in front of enemy firepower as a startlingly effective shambling wall. So enhancement Witherbone Pipes, the noxious Blightbringer only, while the bearer is leading a Poxwalker's unit, add 1 to the objective control characteristics of models in that unit, and each time that unit takes a battle shock or leadership test, add 1 to that test. It depends what Poxwalker OC is. I bet it's 0, but I don't know. And Shambling Wall is a 1 CP strategic ploy stratagem when your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its target. Target one Death Guard unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks, and one friendly Poxwalker unit within 3 inches of your unit, and visible to both your unit and the attacking unit. Effect until the end of the phase. Each time you would allocate an attack to a model in your Death Guard unit, if your Poxwalker's unit is visible to the attacking model, which it has to be as part of the stratagem, then no saving throw is made for the attack. Instead, the number of Poxwalkers from your Poxwalker's unit equal to the damage characteristic of that attack are destroyed. So it's just throwing Poxwalkers under the bus. Narratively makes sense. The other 4 detachments cover a range of interesting tactical options. The Virulent Vectorium retains the Old Plague Company's ability to keep objectives under your control, while the Champions of Contagion get to switch their chosen plague every battle round. That might be quite nice. The Taliban Summoners, which we talked about earlier, I'll tag that video at the end of this, pair the Death Guard with Nurgle Demons included in the codex to expand their contagion range even further, and it sounded really fun. And the Death Lord's Chosen empowers Terminator companies with a particularly deadly plague and ample stratagem support. I bet that one's quite good as well. So no matter how much everyone thinks you just march forward and cough at people, the new Codex Death Guard gives you plenty of new ways to spread the gifts of Grandfather Nurgle. Pre-order yours this Saturday, so honestly, at time of recording, that's probably going to be the day this video goes up. Today has gotten away from me. But let's take a look at this second article. So we're now going to look at Death Guard tactics, and this is with Aidan Smalley from the Disgustingly Resilient podcast and Vanguard Tactics YouTube channel. I will tag both of them below if you want to check them out. I don't know Disgustingly Resilient podcast. Like I say, I'm not a Nurgle Death Guard fan, but Vanguard are very good. You probably know some of the other members, but yeah, I do like a good bit of Vanguard tactics every now and then. So I'll link those below. Both, I would guess, are more focused on tournament stuff. I mean, Vanguard Tactics covers everything, but they are predominantly about you learning the game and then utilising what you know in a tournament setting, much more competitive mindset. I don't think there's many narrative-focused 40k channels out there. Either way, check them out if you find this interesting. But this is Death Guard Tactics, where slow and steady wins the race. So we've already talked about the World Eaters in a separate video, and then today, Tallyman Aidan Smalley from Disgustingly Resilient and Vanguard Tactics gives us his take on what's competitive with the new Death Guard. I'm going to work on the theory that Disgustingly Resilient is competitive focused as well then. The Death Guard are easily one of the most thematic and unique factions in Warhammer 40,000. Waging war against such a foe is a battle of endurance and attrition. They advance slowly, shrugging off firepower that would fell lesser beings, bringing a medley of diseases to all who dare come close. The new Codex Death Guard returns the Sons of Mortarion to their rightful position as masters of debilitation. Army Rule. Let's talk plagues. The Army Rule Nurgle's gift remains from the Index, providing all Death Guard units with a growing aura that reduces the toughness of all enemies within contagion range. But that's not all. The plagues, previously only available to the Plague Company detachment, are now an extra part of our army rule, allowing you to pick from 3 additional modifiers chosen at the start of the game. There's a penalty to hit rolls, the chance to reduce your opponent's OC as well as their move and leadership, and the ability to turn armor into rust. 3 effects with a huge impact on how the army plays. What's more, any enemy unit within range of this aura is now afflicted, which has many inbuilt synergies within the Codex and your unit. Nice. If afflicted is something that they play on with unit abilities, that could be really fun. This flexibility rewards players who truly seek to master this Codex. Understanding the right plague for the right matchup can be the critical difference between victory or defeat. Power armoured armies can be intimidating, but suddenly reducing your Space Marines to the effectiveness of Tau Fire Warriors by sheer proximity can produce results even from low AP weaponry. Yeah, bringing a Space Marine down to a Fire Warrior level is quite scary. There are 6 unique detachments in the book, with archetypes ranging from shambling swarms of poxwalkers through siege bombardment and armoured spearheads, to a host of Nurgle's true demonic children. Let's take a glance at some of my personal faves. So the Virulent Vectorum, which was only touched on in the last article, is a fantastic choice for a well-rounded force with a tool for every situation. It's a favourite of Aidan's. While this detachment does not lean into a specific style of warfare, it does bring a take-all-comers approach and supports a variety of lists. Nice, it's good to hear. The detachment rule itself grants every unit in your army the ability to retain control of objective markers, even if no units remain in range, so free sticky. And the marker also gains the army rule and projects plagues. For a slow army that wants to be advancing inexorably, this rule provides the ability to keep the pressure on the enemy, rather than having to commit units to holding objectives for the entire game. The bearer of Revolting Regeneration gains a 5-up Feel No Pain, which is a great way to increase the durability of key characters in general, but I really like it on a Demon Prince. Rocking a newly improved Toughness 12, 2-up save and a 4-up invul, this enhancement brings him to the same durability as Mortarion himself. That's gross. Lords of Contagion are already known for their damage output, and Furnace of Plagues makes them even meaner with a +1 strength and attacks and devastating wounds. Didn't we hear something incredibly similar with World Eaters earlier? Lords of Contagion also now give their squad Sustained Hits 1 and Lance. That's different, that's nice. Now that's a lot of damage. Returning from the Index and improved for 2 CP, Disgustingly Resilient reduces all damage taken by 1 unit for a phase. So what's changed? It now works in the shooting or fight phase, Pair this with a Demon Prince, who allows a unit within 12 inches to reduce the cost of a stratagem by 1 once per battle round, and your 4-wound Death Shroud Terminators become extremely durable at a key moment. Creeping Blight provides full rerolls to hit and wound when one unit targets an afflicted enemy unit. That's nice, just in general, that's just nice. This stratagem boosts your inventory's ranged output by insane levels. My favourite combo is 10 Plague Marines with a Biologous Putrefier and a Malignant Plague Caster. The former provides lethal hits on every weapon and critical hits on a 5-up, while the Plague Caster adds sustained hits 1 against afflicted units. Not much will be left after a well-targeted volley from these guys. In fact, lethal hits and crit hits on 5-ups is nice in general. Yeah, okay, I can see how that would be disgusting. The Shamblewort Vectorum. Do you like poxwalkers? Have you ever wanted to drown your opponent in a sea of mindlessly groaning plague zombies? The Shamblewort Vectorum is the detachment for you. The Numberless Horde detachment rule allows you to add a fresh unit of 10 poxwalkers to your army in reserves on battle rounds 2, 3 and 4 of a 2000 point game. In addition to this, poxwalker units also gain the battle line keyword WOW. 6 units of 20 poxwalkers in a 2000 point army with an additional 30 throughout the game is an intimidating prospect for sure. It's a lot of poxwalkers to chew through. But at least they're slow, right? Surely they can't infiltrate. Uh-oh. The Noxious Blightbringer with a Witherbone Pipes enhancement allows you to make a blob of poxwalkers with additional OC to clog up any objectives they want. And with +1 movement and rerolls to advance and charge from the Blightbringer, this makes a great second wave while your opponent is still trying to cut their way out of the first waves of infiltrating undead. The Lord of the Walking Pox enhancement allows his unit to treat the battle round as the third for purposes of reserves, which means you can have a unit of 20 poxwalkers showing up anywhere on the board from the outset, or even rapid ingress if you're going second. Did your opponent just spend all their turn breaking through a line of poxwalkers to leave their deployment zone? Treat them to a fresh unit of 20, and Nurgle help them if they left a poxwalker-sized hole in their back lines. Yeah, this all sounds pretty gross actually. Hidden Amongst the Dead allows you to deep strike an unattached unit of poxwalkers from reserves onto the board. This is brilliant at scoring secondary objectives with those free units of 10 poxwalkers you get. Did you draw Deploy Locus? Deep strike and score it. Don't want 20 poxwalkers sat on an objective unable to move up? Drop 10 more onto the objective and allow your shambling horde to move forward without worry. What's more fun than forcing an enemy to commit one of their most powerful melee units to kill some worthless zombies, making it so they're debilitated for the rest of the battle, with Smeared with Filth when a poxwalker unit is destroyed in combat to afflict the unit that destroyed them for the rest of the battle. Awful. This is already frustrating, but what if we have turned this inconvenience into marking the unit for destruction? Death Shroud Terminators can now deep strike more than 6 inches away from an afflicted unit. And yes, they can still charge. That's, again, just gross. What was now an inconvenience has become a death sentence, as a squad of Death Shroud will arrive with a very easy charge to dispatch those who dare to strike down your mindless hordes. All of this interplay with poxwalkers, this just all sounds really, really cool. Like, if this is how they're going to be writing rules, it all sounds quite strong, but it all has that narrative feel. This is what I want to see with 40k. I want to see them leaning into the lore. Alright, maybe you lose certain aspects of other parts of, in this instance, Chaos, but you become Death Guard, your whole separate individual unit with individual things. I quite like this. This detachment is the perfect way to trap your opponents and dominate board control, maximizing your score while hampering your adversary. I love it. Thanks, Aidan. And for more information on high-tier play with Mortarian's finest, the Disgustingly Resilient podcast is on YouTube. He's been the top-ranked Death Guard player in the ITC rankings and works with Vanguard Tactics to teach others how to play the army he loves the most. And that's just confirming there it's a 2000 point Strike Force game. We went over that previously earlier in the video. Really good insights there from Aidan, I think. This is why he's the top ranked, or one of the top ranked Death Guard players. And obviously works with the people that he works with. Yeah, I mean, I think that this one actually sells the uses of the army better than the World Eater one. And while I think the World Eater one did give you some interesting things to think about, this just runs through 2 detachments and gives you all the positives. You're not seeing the negatives, we don't know points, we don't really know how this is going to work. Shamble Rot Vectorum just sounds absolutely gross with 3 Poxwalkers over 3 turns. And then all of this other stuff that you can do with them. And then a Take All Comers army sort of style just sounds really useful to use the tools that you want to use to the best of their ability. This was a really good preview. The detachments that we saw sounded much better than what I think the World Eater one sounded, but I am no tournament competitive player. I mean, I couldn't even tell you half the rules anymore. Been that long since I've played a game of 10th. But this all sounds good fun, and I think Aidan has done a great job of pulling it all together and showing you not just why he's one of the better players out there, but also how his tactical brain picks armies and units and abilities to strengthen what he's doing while hindering the opponent, which is all part of the game when you're trying to win, right? This all sounds pretty cool. I'm still not into the Death Guard vibe. It doesn't matter how good the army rules are, it doesn't matter how nice the models are, not a vibe I can get on with. But that doesn't matter, right? Because you guys out there are going to tell me I'm wrong, and you're going to tell me that you're looking forward to this codex, right? Let me know what you think off the back of these 2 articles. I will link the video for the Demon detachment, so that gives us a 3rd detachment of the 6 to look at. I think they sound pretty good for both armies. The one negative from all of this week has been that we've had to force through 2 previews for 2 codexes that I think, personally, should have had more time to breathe. I think this week should have been Death Guard, I think next week should have been World Eaters, or switch it around, whatever. Because it's a 2-week pre-order window, they have the time to do that. This feels like they've rushed through 2 factions that are such staples, and honestly have such a huge area of 40k that they each encompass. I think that this whole preview week has been done wrong because they've had to force it out into this 1 week, because they're releasing the codexes together, which I think is a stupid move. I know why they're doing it, but I think it's a stupid move. But I think on the whole the articles have been very good, and I do like that they're getting people in who know the factions from outside of GW most of the time, it seems, who are actually going through the good points and the positives of the codexes. I think these are pretty cool. I think this is sounding good, but let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.